Your soulmate is about to confess who they really want to marry. And their family already knows. My beloved child. There's something your soulmate has been trying to say, but every time they get close to admitting it, fear makes them pull back. And the strange part is this: their family may already know exactly who they want to marry. They've heard the name. They've seen the way your soulmate changes when you come up in conversation. Someone in that family may have even asked a question that left them completely speechless. Is it them? Your soulmate didn't answer right away. They couldn't. Because saying the truth out loud would make everything real. For a long time, they've tried to convince themselves that they could keep their feelings hidden, that timing would somehow make the decision easier. But something has shifted. A private conversation recently forced them to confront what they've been avoiding. And now, they're realizing that the person they truly want beside them isn't simply someone they care about. It's someone they can't imagine building their future without. Don't skip, because the next clue explains why their family knows more than you think. There was a moment when your soulmate almost confessed everything. Maybe it happened during a quiet conversation, a family gathering, or even through a message they wrote and then deleted. They wanted to say your name. They wanted to explain why their heart keeps returning to you. But instead, they changed the subject. Someone close to them noticed. And that person didn't let it go. They asked what was really happening, and your soulmate finally admitted something they had never been ready to say before: I already know who I want. That sentence changed the atmosphere completely. Their family began connecting the pieces. The memories, the hesitation, the sudden smile when your name appeared, the way they defended you even when nobody asked them to. And now there's another layer to this story. One family member may actually be encouraging them to stop hiding and make their intentions clear. But your soulmate still has one fear holding them back: what happens when they finally tell you the truth and discover whether you feel the same? And this is where the confession becomes much more serious than a simple declaration of feelings. Your soulmate isn't just thinking about telling you they love you. They're thinking about telling you that, when they picture marriage, they see you in that picture. They've imagined the conversations, the home, the ordinary mornings, the difficult days, and the moment they finally stop running from what their heart has known for far too long. Their family already senses that this decision is coming, which is why certain conversations around them may suddenly feel different. Someone may become unusually curious about your life. Someone may mention commitment. Someone may ask your soulmate whether they're finally ready to choose. And the most unexpected part? Your soulmate may already have a plan for how they want to confess it. Not casually. Not halfway. They want you to understand that this is a decision they've wrestled with privately. Something huge is waiting for you, because before they reveal the words, "I want to marry you," they may first reveal the one secret that explains why they were afraid to choose you in the first place. Something happened behind the scenes that your soulmate never expected you to discover. After that family conversation, they were left alone with a question they could no longer escape. If you already know who you want, why are you still waiting? That question hit differently because your soulmate realized they had been using timing as an excuse. They kept telling themselves they needed the perfect moment, the perfect words, the perfect circumstances. But deep down, they knew the real reason was fear. They were afraid that once they confessed, there would be no going back. And then someone in their family said something that completely changed their perspective. They reminded your soulmate that a person can spend years protecting their heart, only to realize they were protecting themselves from the very love they wanted most. Your soulmate went quiet. They started thinking about every moment involving you that they had tried to dismiss as coincidence. And suddenly, those memories didn't feel accidental anymore. They felt like pieces of a decision that had been forming all along. But there's another reason their family already knows. Your soulmate may have talked about you without even realizing how obvious they were being. They mentioned your personality. They remembered tiny details about you that nobody else would normally notice. They defended your choices. They spoke about your future as though you could somehow be part of it. One family member finally noticed the pattern and asked directly, "Are you talking about the person you actually want to marry?" Your soulmate didn't laugh this time. They didn't change the subject. They simply looked away, and that silence answered the question. From that moment forward, their family understood. They knew this wasn't another temporary attraction. They knew your soulmate was emotionally invested in a way they couldn't easily explain. And now the family may be waiting for one final thing, for your soulmate to stop hiding behind uncertainty and finally tell you what they've already admitted privately. Stay till the end, because the next revelation is connected to the exact moment they decided they couldn't keep this secret forever. That moment may have come when your soulmate realized you could actually walk away. Not because you threatened to leave, but because your energy changed. You stopped waiting for answers that never came. You became less willing to chase explanations. And somehow, your silence spoke louder than anything else could have. Your soulmate felt the possibility of losing you, and that fear exposed the truth they had been trying to control. They suddenly understood that staying quiet wasn't keeping the relationship safe, it was putting it at risk. That's when they began considering the confession seriously. They may have even imagined sitting across from you and saying, "There's something I should have told you a long time ago." But before they can reach that sentence, there is one person they need to face first. The family member who knows the entire story and may be the one pushing them to finally make their choice. And what that person knows about you could change everything. The family member who knows the most has been watching this unfold much longer than you realize. They've noticed every hesitation, every sudden change in your soulmate's expression whenever your name comes up, and every time they tried to pretend they had moved on. But recently, that person confronted them with something your soulmate couldn't easily dismiss. You keep talking about a future, but you never say who you actually see in it. Your soulmate finally stopped pretending. They admitted that there is one person they keep comparing everyone else to. One person who made them feel understood in a way they weren't expecting. One person they still think about when the room gets quiet. And when their family asked if that person was you, your soulmate didn't deny it. That silence became their confession. For the first time, someone close to them understood that this wasn't merely about missing you. This was about choosing you. But then came the difficult question, are you actually ready to marry them? That question made your soulmate nervous because wanting you and being brave enough to build a future with you are two different things. They started thinking about everything that could go wrong. What if you don't trust them anymore? What if too much time has passed? What if you've already changed your mind? What if the person they secretly hope to marry is no longer waiting for them? And that last possibility shook them more than anything else. Their family could see it immediately. Instead of telling them to forget you, they encouraged them to be honest. One relative reportedly reminded them that a serious commitment cannot be built on silence. Your soulmate knew that was true. So they began preparing themselves for a conversation they've imagined over and over again. Not a casual message. Not another vague hint. A real confession. And there's one sentence they keep rehearsing because it contains the truth they've been too afraid to say. I should have chosen you sooner. Those words may carry far more emotion than you realize. Because your soulmate knows there were moments when they could have stepped forward and didn't. They know you may have wondered whether you mattered to them. They know their silence may have made you question everything. And now they're facing the consequences of that silence. Their family already knows who they want, but your soulmate wants you to hear it directly from them. There's also something they haven't told their family yet. A final decision they've been quietly considering that could turn this entire situation in a completely different direction. Because before they confess who they want to marry, they may first have to reveal why they believe the two of you were never truly finished, and that revelation is closer than you think. The decision your soulmate has been quietly considering isn't about whether they love you anymore. That question has already been answered in their heart. The real question is whether they're finally willing to act on it. After everything they've kept hidden, they've reached a point where silence feels heavier than honesty. They may have replayed old conversations, remembered the moments they almost told you the truth, and wondered how different things could have been if they had simply been brave sooner. But now their family is aware of the choice they're leaning toward, and that changes the pressure completely. Someone close to them may have even asked, "What are you waiting for?" Your soulmate didn't have a convincing answer. Because deep down, they know there will never be a perfect moment. There will only be the moment when they decide to stop letting fear control the future. And that moment may already be approaching faster than either of you realizes. There's another detail their family discovered that makes this even more emotional. Your soulmate has apparently been holding onto something connected to you, a message, a memory, a photograph, or even a simple reminder that they couldn't bring themselves to throw away. To everyone else, it might seem insignificant. To them, it represents the part of their heart they never truly closed off. When a family member noticed it, they asked why it was still there after all this time. Your soulmate finally admitted that they kept it because letting go of you never felt right. That confession changed the conversation. Their family stopped treating this like a passing feeling and started treating it like a serious decision. They realized your soulmate wasn't looking for someone new. They were still emotionally connected to the person they had been trying to forget. And now, instead of asking whether you're the one, their family seems to be asking a much more important question: when are you going to tell them? That question may be exactly what pushes your soulmate into action. Because something inside them has shifted from hoping to deciding. They're beginning to understand that if marriage is what they truly want, then they can't keep expecting fate, timing, or circumstances to do the difficult work for them. They have to speak. They have to take responsibility for what they feel. And they may already know exactly how they want that conversation to happen. But there's a complication they haven't fully revealed yet. Someone from their past may still have an opinion about this relationship, and your soulmate knows that person could react strongly when they discover who they've chosen. Their family is prepared for that possibility. Your soulmate is preparing too. But before they face anyone else, they need to face you. And the first words they're planning to say may reveal just how long they've secretly known that you were the person they wanted all along. The closer your soulmate gets to confessing, the more they realize this conversation cannot be ordinary. They don't want to send another half-hearted message or leave another clue for you to decode. They want to look you in the eyes and finally tell you what they've been carrying. And there's a reason they're so determined now. A private conversation with their family made them realize that everyone else can already see what they've been trying to hide from themselves. Someone asked them a simple question: if you could choose anyone without fear, who would you choose? Your soulmate didn't need time to think. Your face came to mind immediately. That answer surprised even them. Because after all the confusion, distance, and hesitation, their hearts still went straight to you. Their family noticed the change in their expression and knew the answer before they even heard it. That was the moment your soulmate realized there was no point pretending anymore. They knew who they wanted. Now they just had to find the courage to say it. But then something unexpected happened. Their family began discussing what a future with you might actually look like. Not in a dreamy, unrealistic way, but seriously. They talked about what would need to change, what would need to be healed, and what your soulmate would have to prove through actions rather than promises. And that conversation forced them to confront something uncomfortable. Love alone isn't enough if you're unwilling to show up. Your soulmate knows there are things they need to make right before asking you to trust them again. They may owe you an explanation for their silence. They may need to acknowledge moments when they pulled away instead of communicating. And they know you deserve clarity, not another confusing situation. So the confession they're preparing may begin with an apology before it becomes a declaration. They may tell you, "I know I made you question where you stood with me." And then comes the part they've rehearsed countless times: the truth about who they see beside them when they think about marriage. What makes this even more powerful is that their family may already be quietly preparing for the possibility that this relationship becomes permanent. There could be conversations happening without your knowledge, subtle questions being asked, or even someone trying to understand whether you would be open to hearing your soulmate out. But your soulmate doesn't want their family to speak for them. They want this decision to come directly from their own heart. They know marriage is too important to leave to assumptions, and they also know they can't keep hiding behind fear. So they've made a private promise to themselves: the next serious conversation they have with you will be honest. No mixed signals. No disappearing. No pretending they don't care. And there is one specific truth they plan to reveal that could explain every confusing moment between you, the reason they never truly let you go, even when they acted like they had. There was a reason the confession kept getting delayed, and it had nothing to do with your soulmate being unsure about you. They were afraid of what would happen once the truth became impossible to hide. For so long, they could keep their feelings private, tell themselves there was more time, and convince everyone around them that they were simply figuring things out. But their family had already noticed the difference between how they talked about you and how they talked about everyone else. When your name came up, their voice changed. Their attention changed. Even their plans sounded different. One family member finally told them, "You don't talk about them like someone you're trying to forget." That sentence stayed with your soulmate because it exposed exactly what they had been avoiding. They weren't waiting to discover whether you were the right person. They were waiting to become brave enough to admit that you already were. Then came a conversation that pushed everything closer to the surface. Their family asked what kind of future they actually wanted. Your soulmate described the kind of relationship they wanted: trust, peace, loyalty, emotional safety, and someone they could build with instead of constantly trying to impress. Someone quietly asked, "And who gives you that?" There was a long silence. Your soulmate finally admitted that when they imagine those things, they think of you. That was the moment their family understood just how serious this had become. But instead of celebrating immediately, they gave your soulmate a warning: if you're going to confess, don't make promises you're not prepared to keep. That advice hit hard. Because your soulmate knows you deserve more than beautiful words. You deserve consistency. You deserve clarity. You deserve someone who chooses you openly instead of leaving you wondering. And that realization may be exactly why their next move is going to be very different from everything they've done before. Your soulmate is no longer planning to simply tell you how they feel. They're preparing to explain why they want a future with you. They may tell you about the moment they first realized their feelings were deeper than they expected. They may admit that certain memories never faded, even when they tried to move forward. And they may finally reveal that their family has known about you for far longer than you ever imagined. But there's something they haven't told anyone yet, not even the family members who already know your name. It's the specific decision they've made about what comes next. Because once they confess who they want to marry, they know they'll have to back those words with action. And according to everything they've been thinking about lately, they're preparing to take one step that could make their intentions impossible to misunderstand. The question is, what exactly are they planning to do when they finally come to you?